Hello from Hollywood. My name is Anthony Boyer. I've been a talent agent in Los Angeles and New York for the last 15 years, and this is Take Fountain. Today we're talking about acting websites. Do you need one? Will a casting director go to one? And is it worth the cost? Now, when I first brought up this idea, Jess, who works with me, said, listen, this is a real easy one. You don't need an acting website. And that is actually something that a lot of people believe, and I believed for a long time. Let me tell you why I've sort of changed my ideas on it. I think you first have to understand that it is true that most casting directors will not go to your website. They're going to work inside of Actors Access or casting networks or whatever service they use. The website itself is not for casting directors. It's for you and for your career. It's for marketing. Casting directors primarily work through agency submissions or self-submissions on Actors Access, casting networks, those kinds of things. They're not Googling you, right? They're looking at your profile on those sites. Maybe they'll go to IMDb Pro if they need a little bit of additional information. And agents and managers, for that matter, rarely check personal websites for materials themselves. So that is not going to be the purpose of your actor's website. The real value of an acting website is actually as a marketing tool, not as a casting tool. It does a number of things. Number one, it helps control your online presence. So when someone searches for you, searches your name, they may come across many things. Ideally, you would like it to be something that you curated, something that you put together to show yourself to the world, how you choose to present yourself and your business to the world, rather than leaving it to sort of the fates and hoping that they stumble on a good Google search. The other thing it does is you then own your hosting. It's just good to have a place where everything that you need for your business is there and you own it. So rather than just, ceding all of your information over to a third party, I think it's really good to have a place where you can host it and you're in charge of it. So who benefits the most from a website? Well, in my experience, the number one group that sort of benefits from this is actually musical theater performers. That is, I think, an area where a website is almost essential because you need to showcase multiple skill sets. You need to showcase your acting, your singing, your dancing. You're going to constantly be updating materials. And I think it can get really cost prohibitive to try to do that through, say, Breakdown Express, Actors Access. You also often need longer clips than what casting sites will allow or will easily allow, and it can get really expensive. So I think hosting for musical theater performers specifically is almost a must. Voice actors can really benefit from hosting, from having a website as well. You can host and organize voiceover demos for easy access. You can have a wide array of clips, things to link people to for specific reasons. If you have voiceover representation, speak to them first to make sure that's fine with them. But I find that voiceover, because it requires a lot of different skill sets similar to musical theater acting, it's really helpful to have a place to host all of that and to curate what you put forward. Another person that might really benefit from a website is a multi-hyphenate performer, by which I mean someone who does, say, theater and hosting and comedy and sketch improv. Maybe you direct, maybe you do personal appearances. Having a website can really act as a central hub to kind of bring everything under one umbrella, because maybe you have an Actors Access profile, but then also you have, this other profile, a voice caster profile. You have all of these areas, and you just want one place where if someone wants to see sort of the full package of what you can do, it's all in one place. So these, to me, I think are the people who benefit the most. You can also, if you're a director, you can put clips there, you can put sketch there, anything that is part of the overall brand that you're building can go into one place. So what should be on your website? Well, first of all, of course, headshots and resume. This is a place to host where you can host production stills, you can host editorial shots, you can host things that you wouldn't necessarily put on an acting profile that might keep people interested, various looks that are not necessarily just the shiny, happy headshot, but maybe something like you did a modeling shoot or, like I said, editorial shots, things like that. They work really well on a website. You're going to want a resume, at least one. If you have multiple resumes, you can host them all in this one place. You're also going to want to have a reel and the clips, whether that's acting, whether that's singing, dancing, voiceover, all the things we talked about. If you do sketch comedy, having a reel there. If you do improv, perhaps you have a reel. That's not an art form that's super conducive to having a reel, but you can host everything here. But you want to have like video. If you are a singer, if you're a musical theater performer, you want to have varied singing clips. You don't want to just have one. You can have one reel, but you want to make sure that you're showing off sort of the full extent of your voice. Contemporary musical theater, and you want to have your classical musical theater. You want to have your upbeat, you want to have your ballad. So those kinds of things can all be hosted here. You're also, this is really important. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone to an actor's website, maybe they link it in their bio in a program, and I go to it, and there is absolutely no way to contact that actor. I think that that is the number one thing that your website should do. If it does nothing else, it should have a way to contact you. Now, that can be your personal email. It can be one of those web forms that people fill out. It can simply list who your agent and manager are and have people, conduct business through them. That's completely fine. But give me some way to get a hold of you, especially if you're leading me to a website. If it's a submission on Actors Access, I assume that I can reach you through CMail. But if I'm specifically finding you via a website, how do I follow up? Now, you can have that on your resume that's hosted there. That's a very common thing to do. But I think it's also helpful to have a contact me page. It's completely up to you and on the format of your website, but I think it's super helpful. Things that are nice to have, I want to emphasize short bio. No one needs your life story. We don't need the 6 paragraphs talking about how you used to put on plays with your stuffed animals when you were a kid. No one really cares. I'm sorry. It's a very cute story. You can tell Kimmel one day, but right now it's not super relevant. So a short bio that kind of gives me the gist. Also, like social media links. If you use Instagram, if you use TikTok, those kinds of things can be helpful here, especially if those are geared towards your business. So if you like to host videos on TikTok, link me to it if I'm at your website. The point of this website, again, is to market your business. So help me find your business. The next thing I think is helpful is if you have press, if you have reviews, I think that this is a good place to host them. Not everyone likes to even read their own reviews, much less post them. It's completely up to you, but I think that this is a nice place to kind of get a sense of what people are saying about your work. The next question, of course, is, do I need a website right now? And the answer is probably not. If you're just starting out, it's certainly not a priority. You would be better off focusing on your Actors Access, on your Casting Networks profiles. You would be better off focusing on sort of where the rubber meets the road, where casting directors are going to go to see your work and bring you in for audition opportunities. So if you're just getting started, I don't think that a personal website is hugely important, but it becomes more valuable as your career grows and as you need more marketing tools and as you need to sort of tie multiple pieces together, whether it's directing or writing or improv or sketch or whatever. And I think the other thing to note is that it doesn't have to be expensive. There are lots of resources to go to find out how to build it yourself. A simple site is better than nothing. And in many cases, a simple site is actually better than a complex site. The more people have to figure out your website, the less effective it's going to be. What you want is a one-stop shop where people can find information that they need quickly, where they can figure out how to contact you quickly and to move on from there. A website will not help you book a job, but it can make your career easier to manage and to promote. If you have a website, I would love to hear your comments. Do you find it helpful? Do you find it to be a waste of time? I'm always looking to learn and to get different viewpoints, so I would love to hear. If you got value out of this episode, please click the thumbs up and you know what? Subscribe while you're at it. You can click that notification bell. You'll get alerted every time we have a new episode. My name is Anthony Boyer, and again, this has been Take Fountain. I said that? Of course. Oh, really? That's funny. I didn't even notice that.